talking about the job roadmap strategies. So I would like for everyone to introduce themselves in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from, what part of Canada, um, and don't hesitate to share your LinkedIn URL. So before we start, I would like to give a brief introduction about what we do here. So Shopify Jobs Canada Network is a network of immigrant supply chain operations and project management professionals in Canada. So what we do is we basically provide resources for job search, networking, and also professional development towards economic integration in Canada. So as immigrants, some of us or most of us find it difficult integrating into Canada's work culture, especially compared to where we're coming from. So we try to make the transition easy for us immigrants, and this is obviously led by Abiodun Okay, and I would say that Abiodun Okay is a transformational supply chain and project management expert with over 20 years of experience in Nigeria's oil and gas sector and also Canada's public sector. So he's the founder of Sierra Project Services, and it majorly specializes in supply chain consulting, business processes improvement, and also ERP implementation. So he leads this network, and what he tries to do is he tries to foster collaboration and innovation among we professionals. So he's really passionate about mentoring emerging talents and also teaching supply chain and project management. So yeah, thank you, Abiodun, for creating this really lovely platform. I can see that Tima has introduced herself. Welcome, Tima. If you could include or add your LinkedIn URL to the chat so that we could all connect via LinkedIn, because as Abiodun said, this is also a form of networking. So yeah, we can start. Abiodun, are you ready?
All right. Thanks, Abel. I guess the introduction you did for me is great because I don't need to go over that on the PowerPoint since you already did that for me. I would say also, guys, if you're just joining and just watch out for the comment section. Abela is going to put some information there as we go, just to kind of help people have some more information about the network and all that. I'm on LinkedIn too. I'm very open to connecting with folks. I think currently I have over 11,000 in my network on LinkedIn.
Recording in progress.
I believe that if you do connect with me, if you understand the way LinkedIn works, those people that I have in my network automatically becomes part of your secondary network on LinkedIn if you're able to connect with me. And it means majority of the guys that are professionals in Canada here, they are just in the second degree network, in your second degree network. So which is something that I would encourage that you do. Some of the things we'll cover today also would highlights the importance of LinkedIn for networking. Let me share my screen here because we have just 1 hour. We've kind of changed the way we do our sessions here. So we want to make it brief going forward. Let me share my screen here for those guys who probably are looking at us. Here's screen. You guys can see my screen, right, on Zoom?
Yes, we can.
All right. Join screen. Share audio. Yeah, those guys who are on social media, hopefully you can hear me. If not, please make comments so that I can fix that. Bella, you can also help me check if you can hear me
Okay,
on
I'll do that.
LinkedIn. So today we are looking at the job search roadmap. By the way, the job search roadmap is a workshop. We've been doing it over time, and I will tell you that this is something with, I would say, the body of knowledge that we've built over several years, having started this network called Supply Chain Industry Network. And what we have been doing is to um, understand this journey of immigrants in Canada from a job search perspectives, to document it in a way that anyone who comes to Canada uh, know specifically the things they are supposed to do to integrate as soon as possible uh, by following this process. So I'm sure many of you guys who are in supply chain knows that there is process to everything. So we don't want a situation where people come into Canada and they don't understand the end from the beginning and they're just all over the place. Eventually, it leads to frustrations and where they just give up. This is something you should be able to achieve within 90 days. If followed properly, you should be able to get a job within 90 days. It's something that we have proven over time, having worked with our colleagues, especially those who have experience from our home, and you also have certifications, industry certification. It shouldn't take you more than 90 days. If it takes you more than 90 days, then it means that some specific steps are not being taken, or some specific processes are not followed. And so this is the reason why we created a job search roadmap. So effective networking is one of those steps. So like I said earlier, since Biola already introduced me, I would skip this for us. Just go straight to the agenda here. We've done the introduction. We're going to talk about the job search strategies. These are what I call the methods or the approach that we have proven to be effective when you're job searching in Canada. If you are not getting the results that you hoped for, having immigrated to Canada, um, the chances that you were not following these steps is very high. So these are the job search strategies that we have proven over time to help you to integrate sooner. Can you
Hi, Abiodun, can you please present your screen?
Oh, you can't see my screen now?
We can, but it's sort of small. It would be nice if you could present it
Okay.
at the top right corner of your.
Okay, just give me a second here.
Oh, okay.
Um, Stop share. Yeah, because I thought you guys are seeing my screen.
We are, but it's.
It's small or what?
Yeah.
How about now? Is it still small?
Can't see anything yet. It's showing present full screen.
How about now?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So these are those strategies that it's been proven over time that it works. And for any one of you guys who probably are still having challenges in integrating or getting a job that you desire, these are some of the things that we know it covers 90% of the things you might be dealing with. So leveraging referrals, Yeah, this is particularly important. It's one of those things that we're going to talk about today. And it's about the use of referrals as it relates to maybe people who are working within that company actually referring you. Um, and we've talked a lot in previous sessions about why this is important. It is the way job search works in Canada. You might have known it as something else in your own culture. Particularly, I'm from a Nigerian culture, so we will call it legwork. But it has a nuance to it that is different from what we call legwork in Nigeria. It's just about employers trying to um, identify capable candidates through their network. This is why what we're talking about today is very critical for anyone who is job searching in Canada. Get a mentor. A mentor is very critical because these are people who have been through that journey you just started or you're still going through. So they have made mistakes. They've learned a lot of things that they can share with you on your journey. This is also why networking is important because this is the way you're able to identify um, mentors, doers, I would call them. You know, these are people who are already doing what you wish to do. So why not work with them so that they could assist you on that journey? Get a job search strategy. So when I talk about job search strategy, the whole point here, you need to socialize your job search. Too many times we've been told that job search is about process. No, it's not just about process. It's about people. Because at the end of the day, it's people that will hire you, not the resume. Neither is it the interview process per se. It's still human beings that are running this interview process. So the more you are able to provide some social proof of your capability, even before the interview, the more it is possible for you to be successful in that interview that you have been scheduled for. So this is why it's important to socialize. You should have some social proof of your capability. Don't only rely on just getting to the interview and the regular, the traditional process of getting a job. Resume, yeah, we created something called SOAR resume. So a lot of the times you are qualified, but you don't actually know how to write a proper resume, and it also is coming from the formal maybe culture where you actually had your experience, whereby our resume is sort of a chronological resume, just giving us a timeline of your career. Whereas in Canada, it's totally different. It's a marketing tool. Your resume has to your resume needs to sell you as the candidate, right, for that job. If you rely on chronological resume for this job applications, it might be one of the reasons why it's not working. We've done something resume before, so you can watch on YouTube a lot of these things that we've done in the past, which I won't touch on today. Seek feedback. Here is also very, very important. You don't get feedback every time from employers or recruiters or hiring managers. This is why it's also good to work with mentors. And these people could actually be working in that company. Okay, that's another thing. They could be working in that company and they'll be able to provide you with some insight that you never even imagined that you could have access to. Things like they could provide you with their procedures. They could even tell you about some of the projects that the company is working on. Beyond that, they could also get you in to know why you have not been hired, perhaps because they know somebody else has been hired, and a lot of the time that person is actually an internal candidate. So these guys who are mentors within those companies are able to share such information with you. Upgrading your mindset. I spoke to this earlier when I was responding to a fellow who has comment about our job search experience. It's the job search thing in Canada. It's really an emotional roller coaster. The rejections, the fear, the frustrations, a lot of things that people will go through, when job searching. And the most important thing I want to bring out of this is the outcome you get from these processes. Actually, 80% of it, of the results you get, actually relies on your response to those negative emotions. If you're able to respond with these other things we mentioned earlier, you're making progress. But if you are responding in a negative way, the chances are, you might not actually come out better from that process. So we need to focus our attention on those things that are positive, either that we're experiencing or that we are learning from those challenges. What are you learning from those challenges? If you're not getting interviews, what can you learn from that? If you're getting all this random feedback, oh, you're a great candidate, however, we found somebody who is a better fit. What can you learn from that? What is that thing saying? How can you, move forward from that disappointment, knowing that there are some specific things you need to do better going forward? So this is what the job search roadmap is about. Us trying to grow, like have a growth mindset. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people would say, "Oh, this discrimination. It's they don't like my accent." We can, yeah, those things exist, but how much effort I really can you put into all those negative stuff for you to get the results you're working towards? And a lot of the times also that if we do really experience those things we talked about in any interview or in any engagement with a company, then that already tells you that that's not a company you want to work for. So why waste your time on the emotions of that experience rather than, okay, well, you know what, maybe there's a better company out there for me, where I will be appreciated and my skills and experience will be considered, right? So let's go to the networking culture. Yeah, it's an interesting one, but unfortunately, I'll just have to cover this with just one slide when it comes to Canadian networking culture. We have like a separate presentation on this, which is normally done by Gloria. I'm not sure if you guys know Gloria. She's an expert in effective communication, and she has done one presentation before on this particular one. So again, you can watch that presentation. I believe it will be on YouTube. You can search for my YouTube. You can search for the job search roadmap, um, what they call it now, like a compilation of different presentation on the job search roadmap, and you will see that presentation there. So what is networking? Well, networking, we know it's about us engaging with our immediate um, environment, with people who are in our industry. Sometimes it could be a social network. Sometimes it could be a professional networking event. But the focus here is really on the professional networking. So networking is not limited to just professional networking, but our focus here is um, professional network, which is about building genuine, long-lasting relationship with professionals and stakeholders in your industry. So when it comes to Canadian culture, there are some specific nuances to networking. However, what is important here for us to note is that it is a cornerstone of professional success in Canada. Either you're looking for a job or you're already in a job, you're seeking career advancement, um, whatever it is, networking is really the foundation for your success in Canada. And yeah, we'll get to a point where I would go further into why this is the case. But we just need to understand that if we are going to be successful either in our job search, in career advancement, professional development, or whatever it is, um, networking is actually the cornerstone for your success. Now, there are some cultural nuances and etiquette to the Canadian networking. Being polite, we know it's a Canadian thing. And the way I really process this is there's one word that I'm trying to remember that they say you should relate with others the same way you want them to relate with you. So this is just what I understand to be the basis of the cultural nuances to Canadian networking. Being polite, being respectful, also being genuine in your interactions. So on social media these days, I see videos of people who would, show interaction between employees in the Canadian culture, where you're just talking about things that really has nothing to do with the work, uh, in a way, right? And there's there are different ways that people who are put these things on social media relate with, especially immigrants. Or some of them would say, "Oh, I don't really care about just chatting and these small talks. At the end of the day, you guys will report each other to your boss and stuff like that, even though you appear to be smiling at each other." Yeah, there are those things, but my focus here is that as immigrants, what we really need to learn are these basics of being polite, respectful, and genuine in your interactions. It starts with something as simple as a smile. Like some of those videos, it appears that some of them I've made comments about, oh, they will smile at you, even though those smile doesn't mean that they are genuinely um, they genuinely like you as a person. But what I would say here is this is regardless of whom you're dealing with, because we can't just generalize about Canadians, is what I'm trying to say here. Regardless of whom you're dealing with, these are the basics. Be polite, respectful, and genuine in your interactions. It doesn't mean that there will not be people who are not genuine in their interaction, either immigrants or the Canadians who have been here for a long time. So that is just what I would say. Smiling is the smallest thing you could do in terms of interacting or engaging with Canadian, either at workplace or outside of workplace. Just smile. People will naturally smile back, and this is why I said earlier about this, that look, it comes down to you need to treat others as you would like to be treated. Simple as that. So what I want us to do right now is to do this survey so that I'm not just talking at you. This survey is just to help us make an assessment of where we are in terms of networking when it comes to the Canadian um, networking and how it relates to job search. Remember, again, even though we're talking about networking, the whole goal is about how do we leverage it for job search success. So let me know if you can open up. I've tested it this morning and I think it opens. Abella, you can also do it at your end. You can scan the QR code. I know what I've done before is to put it on the screen, but because of time, I would just like us to do it ourselves, and I'll look at the results on my end here. So we should do this within the next 5 to 10 minutes. We should be able to complete this. So what I would do on my end is just to show you the results of those who have done it in the past. So Abiola, is it working?
I've not been able to connect. I don't know. Has anyone been able to? What it brought me to was an error page actually. So trying to.
Okay, give me a sec here. Oh, error message. Okay, saying too many requests.
Yeah.
All right. So if that is, we can try, to refresh the link. I know I've been experiencing this problem with Odoo recently. It's coming from my server. Yeah, so I tried it the second time, it worked. So maybe you can just refresh and just refresh the page. It will try again. Has anyone been able to get in?
I don't think anyone has been able to get in.
Except me, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Let me see if I can.
Okay. I'll share the link. I've been able to
Okay.
get in, so I'll share the link on the chat.
Okay, so it worked at your end this time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's also something they can do at their own time, since it's not something we're doing live. So I will just show some of the results that I have here with you guys based on the ones that we've done in the past. So those questions there are basically what we are expected to be doing in jobs such as it relates to networking. So let's just be honest with the way we answer it, because that's when you'll be able to get an idea of where you are in how you've been leveraging networking. Okay, so I see the link you posted. So I think so far, let's see. I need to drop my screen here. Can you guys see my screen? Not yet.
No, we can't.
All right. How about now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I want you to look at the success rate here. It's showing 7.4%. So far, 34 people completed this. The average score is 25%. All right, so let's go through the questions and then we see how people responded. So how confident are you in your ability to network effectively? So 18% of the people who responded said they are very confident. 31% said they are confident. So if you put that together, it's still lower than 50% that said that they were confident, right? And how often do you attend networking events, online or in person? Frequently, it's 21%. Occasionally, 26%. Those two are also still less than 50%. It's just an idea of, how people leverage networking. Not so you would see that generally we have this hovering around lower than 50% or 50%. Of course, do you actively use LinkedIn for that? Even LinkedIn, that happens to be, something that is just on your screen. People are still struggling with it. Still around 55% say they leverage LinkedIn for networking. How prepared do you feel for conducting informational interviews? Yeah, some people say very prepared, 18%, prepared 18%. So this is even less than 35. My math is right. How often do you conduct informational interviews? So this is also an interesting one. You see, I mentioned earlier about getting a mentor, and one of the ways you get mentors is actually, in fact, one of the most important way to get mentors is informational interviews. And you can see here, these are active job seekers, right? That people like you who came to this session were the ones that were actually submitted these surveys. So frequently 4.76%, okay, and then occasionally 19%. All right, so that's less than 25 if my math is right. And it's really an indication of the type of results that job seekers are seeing when it comes to the Canadian job market. I also blame it a lot on the way that we have actually been taught to job search in schools. Because I know they do a lot of yapping about networking, but they don't specifically say if you are networking in job search, these are the things that is expected. All right, they just gloss over it on the surface without putting into practice. How do you typically find contacts for informational interviews? LinkedIn, 20%, professional events, 33%. Of course, if you go to professional events, referral from friends or colleagues, 38%. See, a lot of people are doing that more than they are doing LinkedIn. And I know LinkedIn, it's like cold marketing. A lot of people are very scared of cold marketing because it's like reaching out to strangers when you don't know how to approach them or things like that. So this is what you see about how people approach. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to networking? Some people say initiating the conversation, 26, maintaining connection is 31, finding the right people to network is 42%. Well, that's a huge one, right? Finding the right people to network with. And this is why LinkedIn exists anyways. This is why LinkedIn exists. So meaning these also correlate with the results earlier that about 19% are actually connecting through LinkedIn. So how effective do you think your follow-up after networking events or informational interviews? This follow-up is very important. And you can see that is below 20%, thereabout. And this is where the results is. I mean, if you go to events and there's really nobody that you are connecting with or that you're following up after that, then the chances are that whole networking thing you went to wasn't really getting you results, and it's coming from the fact that you're not following up. How do you really prepare for an informational interview? So different results here. researching the company and the individual 20%, preparing a list of questions 15%, setting clear objectives 5%, all of the above 40%, and then there's also none of the above 20%. So these are people who probably are not really doing informational interviews at all. So which of the following do you feel most needs improvement in your internet networking and informational interview skills? 55% say all of the above. So these are the areas you might likely look into. Confidence in approaching people, knowing what questions to ask, following up effectively, maintaining professional relationships, right? So these are all critical part of networking. So I'm going to leave that for now. But I want to know if there are questions so far coming from having seen this. I'd like to have your questions so that we can make it more interactive.
I think that the question I want to ask may be on a few people's mind. So, what are the tips you, or what are some of the advice you would give to someone that wants to say network, if not via LinkedIn?
maybe physically? I don't know. Are there some tips that one can um, sort of do to ensure that they network properly? So, for example, reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, it would not be nice to just reach out to the person once and just start asking if they have like jobs available. I don't think that's like the proper way to do that. Instead, maybe one could reach out once, then ask for like a coffee chat the second time, then maybe
now
um
just
just
sort
sort
of
of
subtle
subtle
hinting
hinting
about
about
if
if
there's
there's
like
like
a
a
role
role
available.
available.
All right.
I
I
think you
think you
understand
understand
what I'm
what I'm
trying to
trying
say.
to say.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually do come across a lot of people who are frustrated with LinkedIn networking because people ignore them, because people don't respond to their messages. And, it also boils down to some of the things we already covered, like the upgrading your mindset thing. And people who are into marketing understands this, that when you go out there to market a product, you could actually reach out to about 10 people, but only one person actually responds. The fact that that one person responds is a success, regardless of these other failures in your attempt to reach out to people. And that's one thing that I know a lot of people might not really appreciate. Earlier, I was talking about success and that failure is part of success. The fact that you are going out there to reach out to people and you are not being bothered, first of all, by who are going to reject you, means that you now understand the rule of the game. Because at the end of the day, it's about those people that are actually getting back to you. It's not about those who didn't. Because they could have several reasons why they didn't get back to you. The fact that they didn't get back to you in the first place doesn't mean that they are not interested in what you're talking about. So where we need to improve upon is how do we improve the results we're getting by following some specific rules of networking, which have worked most for. And I guess that comes back to the first question you asked as to how you should approach, networking, especially on LinkedIn. So these rules are things that we've seen over time that actually work generally for networking, but I think there's a slide that speaks to the LinkedIn part of it. Now, when you reach out to people, you need to take interest in the journey of those people. You can be reaching out and then the first thing you're talking about is yourself, how great you are, how fantastic your experience is. You need to have something at the back of your mind. Everyone on LinkedIn is there for something. They also have needs. That's why they're on LinkedIn. It could be job, it could be any other thing. That's why they're on LinkedIn. So how do you engage your new contacts on topics or things that are of interest to them? That should be the first thing on your mind. If you are reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, what possibly could be of interest to this person that will make them respond back to you? Regardless of how busy they are, everybody is busy. So out of this being busy, they needed to prioritize whom they're responding to. You need to have that at the back of your mind. So how could you create an urgency when you're reaching out to people such that regardless of how busy they are, they will still find time out to reach out to you? So that's the problem you're trying to solve here, Abiola. So, yeah, do you have another question?
No, none for now.
Okay. So I should continue? All right.
Yes, please.
So taking interest in the journey of the person you are reaching out on LinkedIn is very, very important. Or even if it's at a professional networking event, what is the need? Active listening is when you not only hear what somebody is saying, but also attune to their thoughts and feelings. This is also something that is very, very important.
I like killing niggas with a chainsaw. I like killing niggas with a chainsaw. I like killing niggas with a chainsaw.
Oh, it's that idiot. Okay, so I think we have some settings that you can use.
Okay.
So you have some settings there, right?
Yeah, so sorry about that. Please, I don't know what's going on. I can see some weird people in the waiting room, which I obviously am not admitting because it feels like it's a spam.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I've removed all of that
So
things and I'll check
there's
the
a
settings. You can just
settings,
continue.
there's a settings like a control thing there on your screen. You should be able to disallow anybody from doing some specific things like showing their camera and stuff.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'll do that.
Okay. All right. Sorry about
Sorry
that.
about that.
So these are some of the things we deal with when it comes to the internet and technology, right? So let's move forward. I talked about active listening earlier, making sure that we listen to what others are saying rather than what we have to say. It's something that applies either professional networking or any other type of networking. Um, Building rapport is also another one. I think it has to do with something that Abiola said earlier, where you reach out to somebody for the first time and then you already started talking about looking for a job, and all sort of things that that person is not supposed to be hearing, reaching out to them for the first time. I call it the handling approach to networking. You reach out to somebody for the first time and how you're just bamboozling the person with the fact that you don't have a job, you're new in Canada, right? Fine, but then it shouldn't get right to I'm looking for a job. It should be about a sense of connection that you get when you meet someone you like and trust, and um, trying to build some rapport. And this is where the small talks thing that we do comes in. It's something that has to come from practice when it comes to like in-person networking. But when it comes to LinkedIn, it's a little bit tricky because first of all, this person doesn't know you from nowhere, and it's not like you are in their face to really interact with them. So it could be a little bit tricky. So building rapport on LinkedIn, you will need to have some level of social proof on LinkedIn. So if I mentioned earlier, creating this urgency that people have to respond to you, even though you are reaching out to them for the first time, it's kind of a skill. But one thing that is fundamental is that your LinkedIn has to be professional. Like you need to have a LinkedIn that somebody looks at your profile, having reached out to them, and right away they can connect with you and what you do, your value proposition. This is also where value proposition comes in. So what value proposition are you putting out there on LinkedIn as a professional? Because if they can't really see that while you are connecting with them or anything of the sort, it will be really difficult again to build rapport, especially those who are telling us that, oh, I don't have a LinkedIn because I'm applying to several jobs. No, it shouldn't be an excuse for having a proper LinkedIn profile. So, but we talked about LinkedIn in a previous session. You can go on YouTube and you will see that there. Now, nurturing relationship is also another one. Earlier we talked about having to follow up. So even if you have been able to meet this person or you connected with them on LinkedIn, there are some specific steps you have to take to move that conversation to the next level, especially for job seekers. It needs to lead to informational interviews. So which there's an opportunity for you to meet with them one-to-one and to have conversation maybe about their own career. And that's another thing. You don't go to an informational interview and all your focus on is just all your focus on is just your own needs. Now, you need to know this person first. So it has to be okay, their own journey, taking interest. Again, going back to the first rule, taking interest in their journey. That's the key. Even when you get to that point where you have to have a chat with them, and it's about building rapport. I do say these things that when you ask some specific questions during informational interview, it's so that you can learn from their own story, which is a very strong way to build rapport. And this way you connect with that story. It's kind of a psychological thing. It's the way it works, that you have now become part of that story because they told you. That's how our brain works. So these things are some specific things you need to follow when you are actively networking. So building your network, either you're using LinkedIn or you're doing in person, something needs to be at the back of your mind that it's not just about you. If there was anything that came out of that slide that I just did, is the fact that networking is about mutually adding value to one another. It shouldn't be about you pushing for your own needs. You want to understand the needs of this person and then see where you can be of value to them. And you know what? Naturally, it just so happens that they will also be looking out for your own needs. That's basically networking. If all this networking thing they've been throwing around all these days, you don't understand it yet, this is the basic. That it's about adding value to the other person, but you need to understand their needs first. I mean, how do you understand their needs? By listening to what they're saying, being able to gain some insights into their thoughts and feelings, and then be able to know what their needs actually are. And then from your own resourcefulness to be able to say, you know what, I can connect you with this person. I can send you some information I received recently about what you're talking about, which will be of help. There are several ways, depending on your value proposition, right? So networking is about adding value to your connections and nurturing relationship with new contacts in your target company, especially for job search. And LinkedIn is one tool that I know job seekers are not leveraging for this purpose. So you need to leverage LinkedIn for this. Engaging with your link network is crucial for building relationships and staying visible. You can engage with your network by liking their posts, commenting on their posts. So earlier I talked about adding value. These are ways you can add value on LinkedIn even before requesting to connect with somebody. You can go on their page, review their profile, look at maybe some of the posts that they probably have shared in the past. You can see the posts, you can see maybe comments, and you can like and you can share, you can repost even before reaching out to connect with them. And this will go a long way in improving your results when it comes to engaging with people. You can see other points here, congratulating them on their milestones, asking for feedback or advice. So all of this you can actually do to build rapport in advance before reaching out to them and introducing yourself, which they won't say, I haven't seen this person before. You see, we want to try to reduce to increase the familiarity. And this is why we do small talks. If we do small talks, we just want to have a common ground. So you can create that common ground on LinkedIn by making comments on this guy's post, liking it and all that. And before you actually reach out to connect with them, that way it totally increases the urgency of their response um to your mail or message, and also maybe speaking to the things that are of interest to them will also totally increase that. So networking events is also another way. Like we have said about the rules to networking earlier, it's not just about going to those events. It's about knowing you want to meet some specific persons at that event. A lot of the times when you go, especially to professional networking events, the stakeholders, I mentioned something earlier about these people that are actually hiring, not the resumes, not the interview process. It's people. So when you go to the networking events, especially in persons, even online ones, you're able to meet people of interest there. You can connect with them after the event, but you might make some comments on them, especially the ones who are organizing these events. You can comment, you can ask questions. These are the reason why you ask questions during sessions like this, because then if you ask questions, then it becomes that you are increasing your familiarity with the person who is or either organizing the events or the presenters at the events. So these are the ways to help with your networking event. I'm going to skip this because of time. Informational interviews, we spoke about this one earlier. This will be an outcome from having been effectively networking. So if you're wondering, okay, where does this networking thing, what are the outcomes I'm supposed to expect from it, right? Informational interviews as a job seeker. So you've connected with this guy either on LinkedIn or in person. How do you move it to the next level? This informational interview is the next level. And I always tell people who are job seeking that this is actually you conducting an interview before the actual interview. So you are the one arranging interviews. You're not waiting until they call you for an interview. That's what a lot of us are doing. We're waiting for employers or hiring managers to call us for interviews, having competed with 1,000 who are sending applications online. You see that? But informational interview here, you are the one arranging the interviews yourself. And I will give an example of a lady I worked with before. She's actually based in Alberta. And when we started working together, I made her understand that, see, you need to move away from just throwing resumes online. You have to have a different strategy this time. You remember we talked about strategy earlier. This is what I was talking about, socializing. your job search. That's what informational interview is. But at the end of the day, remember the networking rules. It's not about you, it's about that person. You want that person to have some type of impression on your capability, on your personality, but you are doing it by asking them questions on their own journey. So this lady applied for a job, and I told her, look, okay, so this is the way you're going to work this thing. She told me that, oh, she actually met one of the hiring managers in the previous networking event. And I said, okay, you know what? Reach out to her, let her know, blah, blah. You saw this opportunity. And then one way or the other, she was actually able to get, now that's after she's already applied online. Okay. So she had, this lady then said, oh, let's meet for coffee somewhere, right? They met, and through this opportunity, she was able to make a good impression on that hiring manager. And then the next thing the hiring manager did was, okay, well, you know what? Let's have like a formal interview where there'll be other guys at the interview. And then the long story short, this lady got the job. She didn't only do that, she actually also reached out to somebody who is working within the company who she also know. So this person was also able to provide her with information about the type of questions she might expect, what the processes looks like in that company and things like. So this is what I was saying earlier. We need to move away from, if you have been doing, let's say you're doing 10 job applications, because I know a lot of people do that, right? You're doing 10 job applications per week, okay? Here is a strategy. Cut it down to just 3 job applications per week. The remaining 8, move it to informational interviews. Getting people that you will speak to without them having any active job posting online about an opportunity, because this is where you would leverage people's insights, or may even be able to get hidden job opportunities. That's what a lot of us are missing. We're competing with 1,000 unqualified people for a job that was posted online. By the way, that job they posted online, I can bet you 80% of the time, that job, they already have a preferred candidate for that job. So move away from just being a random job applicant to a preferred candidate. That's the problem you're trying to solve here. If you're listening to me when you narrated your experience earlier, this is what it boils down to. This is what networking is. You want to move away from just being a random applicant online to being a preferred candidate. That's the task you have here. If you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, we talked about unique value proposition earlier. This is just about making yourself the preferred candidate also, but this time around by showcasing your value, making it visible. People will go on your LinkedIn, they can see what you do. And another example like I talk about here is also Abiola, who has been supporting me here now for some time, right? She's making herself visible, through this, by engaging, offering something of value. Remember, I was saying earlier about adding value being what networking is. You just don't go to an event and that is it. No, like, how do you move this conversation forward? All right. So, whom do you connect with? So we said something earlier where we said this is the networking section by itself. Whom could you connect with here in this event that will get you information that might probably move to the next level? Connecting with people on LinkedIn whom you've met through here, and talking about visibility too. Let us see your face as well. I would highly recommend that whenever you go to a session, especially like an online session like this, make yourself visible as much as possible. If you don't have anything distracting you in the background or a noise in the background, open your camera. Don't be shy. These are the issues. These are the things, right? make yourself visible. And then there's also effective communication. This is one that has to do with us as immigrants. Maybe we're not really saying things the way they say it here in Canada, and at times it gets in the way, especially at interviews, or maybe even when engaging in one-to-one in-person networking. Effective communication is key. It has to do with public speaking. That's why some of us would like to hide behind camera, because we're shy. We don't want people to, or maybe we don't like to talk or things like that. All of this erodes away from our ability to network effectively. If it's something that you would like to address, I would say reach out. Networking strategies. All of these things I talked about so far, I've put them also into these marble stones for anybody who wants to improve going forward when it comes to networking. Build a network, leverage LinkedIn, networking events, move it to informational interviews, especially when it's somebody who could become a mentor, offer a unique value proposition, and then also, of course, effective communication. Effective communication doesn't just have to do with speaking. A lot of the time, it's really about what you did not say. I do say this, that when you go to interviews, and these guys are listening to you as you're responding to their questions. There are some set of things they are looking for, that might not even have anything to do with your capability. Like, is this person confident? Can we see confidence in the way this person are presenting their experiences? Does this person interrupt? Which is a sign that you're not listening. Are they active listener? Do they actually stop or ask to confirm the questions we've asked them before they jumped at answering the questions? Are they active listener? These are the ways we know if you're an active listener. If you seek to understand the questions well before you actually responded, this is telling us that you're an active listener. Do you pause before you answer a question, or you just right away explore whatever you've memorized in your head out? So all of these things are things that has to do with effective communication. The way you speak. Do you use every time you're speaking? Because these are also indicators that you're not effective, or you're not processing what you're saying. You're just trying to say things to respond. So networking as a job search strategy in the short term increases your job opportunity, but it's a long-term game for your career roadmap. So even if you're currently employed, these are the things that will help you to get ahead, even as somebody who is already hired in your professional career. So this way I will leave it for you guys to if you have questions. You spent 5 minutes already outside of scheduled time, but I would like to know if there are any questions. What I would say is, going forward, take some specific steps in a direction that will lead you to your results. And I have some here. Connect with mentors. Use this QR code for your one-to-one. If there are some specific things that relates to you that you don't want to talk about here, that you rather that you have a one-to-one, use that QR code. We have the public speaking workshop that I mentioned earlier that Gloria organizes. Gloria is very, very technical when it comes to this communication thing. I've worked with her myself personally, one-to-one, and she addresses things on a physiological level, honestly. A lot of people don't understand is when they say public speaking, oh, it is about speaking, like, to the public. No, there's some physiological stuff that she actually addresses in the way we open our mouth, in the way we use our tongues and things like that. You would not know that all of these things really goes a long way in impacting or affecting what people have as impressions of you as a professional. But it does. So these are the things that they address at the public speaking workshop. I think it's a 5 weeks workshop that she does for us, and she does it as a, because I've seen some of the things she does online out there. She does it at some cost that you might actually not be able to afford, but she does it for us at a discounted rates. I've seen normal public stuff she does. So also enroll in Job Search Accelerator. That's the one we have created specifically for supply chain operations and project management professionals through serial projects. We work together as a project team and look at some specific things that need to be addressed, especially all of the ones that we covered so far, be it informational interviews, the LinkedIn optimization, resume optimization, connecting with colleagues who might be able to help you with your job search and mock interviews. So a lot of things will be addressed through Job Search Accelerator, hoping to help you integrate sooner within 90 days of having started this journey. So this is what I have for you guys. I don't know if there are questions. Again, this is actually on YouTube. Can go there and listen to it again if there are things that I've said that you probably would like to listen to again. Take your time and do that. And hopefully we can have one-to-one if something that's of interest to you so that we can address specific challenges you might have. So that's it for me. Today, I don't see any questions. Abiola, do you have questions there?
No, there aren't questions in the chat. Well, I already posted or shared the links for the
Yeah, the
15
YouTube,
minutes
right?
discovery call.
All right. Thanks, guys.
And also the YouTube.
All right. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I know Bella, you said you probably will leave earlier. Guys, if you are interested in having a mock interview, use that QR link. It's free, and just let's schedule it, and we'll look for resources to help facilitate them. We usually have them third Saturday of the month, so that will be next week. So if it's something that will be of interest to you to have a mock in there, this is also a way for us to check what probably you've been doing wrong. And apparently, in our past sessions, we've seen people actually come to the point where they are doing it perfectly the way it would get them the result they're looking for. So don't hesitate to constantly improve. Maybe sometimes it's even your shyness that is getting in your way. Honestly, I've been there. You won't imagine me, I'm the one talking here publicly. I was like, the way I described my shyness when I was at the university was crazy. But I realized that I'm just getting in the way of my progress by being shy, because how would people know what I have to offer if I'm just somebody who likes to hide behind the door or behind the window? So if that is what you're dealing with, please get to fix it already. In the beginning, it might look awkward to you. I've said that. They always look awkward to me talking myself, producing YouTube videos. But yeah, after sometimes it just became part of what I do naturally. So that's just the way it works. So leave it there for you guys. Hopefully we connect one-to-one at some other time. Thanks, Abiola, for helping today. I really appreciate the fact that there's somebody who is doing this in the back end. And we're looking to also do like an in-person in Winnipeg, if it's something that you would like to help with. Also, Saskatoon, Alberta, Edmonton, if it's something you can facilitate, all I have to do is make myself available. If it's something you can facilitate. We've had, in-persons in the past in Toronto, we had in Winnipeg, we had in Calgary. So the other cities, if it's something and this is what I'm talking about, adding value. If it's something you can make yourself committed to make happen, then reach out and let's talk about it. Let's make it happen. And we've done it in the past and we can do it again. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you everyone for joining. To enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So if we'll leave this on for some minutes, right? For those who might still want to pick one link out there. And if you haven't shared your URL for LinkedIn, do put in that people can connect with you. Move this forward beyond just attending this session. Connect with real people, talk on, network, either Zoom or in person, whatever works. If Lua, I think you're in Edmonton, reach out to Abiola. She's also in Edmonton, right? Maybe we can have a group to actually have the in-person networking in Edmonton. It's something that you guys would be interested in having there. All right. Bye for now. So